I've had some major life changes the last few weeks that are really rustling my jimmies, but they will all likely be a blessing in disguise. How can you help me? What's in the news with stories on Bill Weld, hemp legalization, government waste, slavery in France, and New Hampshire. It's like this too. Also, a herding cat segment on a PorcFest XV recap. This episode is brought to you by ZenCash, a cryptocurrency that infuses privacy, anonymity, and security done right. Also brought to you by Free Talk Live, providing you with fresh, pro-liberty content 7 days a week on more than 180 radio stations across the country.
Welcome to The Lava Flow, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Find us at thelavaflow.com. Here's your host, Roger Paxton.
Thank you for joining me this week. From the state that is still the #1 state in the country for the well-being of children, according to the 2018 Kids Count report, this is the show that will bring you the people, places, and events that everyone in the Liberty Rebellion needs to know. You can catch me on Twitter at The Lava Flow Pod. This is episode 95, Life Changes, and it's Tuesday, July 3rd, 2018, when there have already been more than 526 people killed by police this year, and the United States debt clock shows us at $21,184,450 million in debt. What's rustling my jimmies this week? You're about to find out. Let's do it to it. As you guys know, I rarely use this section for personal items, but there's something going on in my life, something major that really has my jimmies rustled, and I wanted to share it with you. But I think it may be a huge blessing in disguise in the long run. On Sunday, June the 10th, I received an email from the owner of the healthcare company that I was working for that I was being laid off, and that my position as Director of Information Technology was being dissolved. While this did not come as a major surprise because I knew the company was having some major financial issues and they'd already been through one round of layoffs, it was still quite shocking to the system, as I'm sure you can imagine. I met with my boss and the owner of the company on Monday, June the 11th in a tear-filled meeting where it was all laid out for me. Frankly, aside from providers in the company, which are basically the doctors in the company, I was the most expensive employee out of everybody. I even made more than my own boss, the chief operations officer of the company, because of my specialized skills. But because of this, even though I brought massive value to the company and took an ancient and failing IT infrastructure and brought them completely into a modern IT age with high-end security, performance, and scalability, they simply could not continue to afford me any longer. Now, I was given a modest severance package with pay and benefits for a short period of time, and I was handed 2 glowing recommendation letters from my boss and the owner of the company. This was a huge help, to be sure. So, since this layoff happened literally the week before PorcFest, I buckled down and got to work, helping my wife finalize many things for PorcFest early on and setting us up for an amazing event that I'll be talking about later in the show. Then I had a week of PorcFest craziness. And last week was a major come-down week where I had to recover from the exhaustion of PorcFest and get some things in order around the house. I was hoarse for several days after PorcFest as well, which made communicating very difficult. The good news about all of this is that my wife, Jessica, and I were already working on making a transition to me being the primary breadwinner of the family, working 60-plus hours a week outside the home, to a more diverse and flexible way of bringing in income that both of us could work on, including podcasting, audio production, editing and mastering for other people, website creation, audiobook production, voiceover work, and rental property income. We were planning to make that transition complete by this coming winter or spring. This major change happening quickly, though, means that we have to ramp up our plans quite a lot. But I still believe we can make this happen as long as I can supplement our transition using part-time or project-based IT work from home. Since moving to New Hampshire, and especially to the Free Coast area of New Hampshire, I've been amazed by the flexibility of my fellow homeschool dads in the area. Several of my friends work remotely. They have very flexible jobs that provide them with great income while allowing them to be a much bigger part of their family's daily activities. This has made me so fucking jealous since I first moved here, and it's something I've sought since I moved here. And now that possibility has a strong chance of becoming a reality. This is a major step towards me having more liberty in my lifetime. So while things have changed for me dramatically and very quickly, I fully believe that I'm going to look back on this a year from now as a huge blessing because it forces me to make this work. Jess, my wife, and I have faced a lot of challenges in our time together, and we have never met a challenge that we could not defeat completely and utterly and come out better on the other side. This challenge, while also a massive challenge, is no different. We will kick this challenge in the ass. Now, I know there's no way I can make this work on my own, so I need all of the help I can get, including from you guys, my loyal listeners. How can you help? First, and most easily, you can become a supporter of my efforts with this podcast by going to thelavaflow.com/support and pledging at least $1 per episode. One good thing about this transition is that podcasting will now be a portion of my income going forward, so every dollar counts. Also, since I will not be working 60-plus hours outside the home, plus 5 hours of commute time per week, I'm going to have much more time to ensure that I get my episodes out on time every single week. This is good for all of us. Regular content, supported regularly by my loyal listeners, is a win-win scenario. If you're already a supporter of the show, thank you so much. I hope you can consider increasing your support to help me out. If you're not a current supporter, but you've been considering it, now is the perfect time for your support to have the most impact it ever possibly could by helping me make it through this transition. Thank you all so very much. But that's not the only way that you can help me. As I mentioned, my new life will include many different sources of income. If you or someone you know is looking for some of the following resources, please email me at roger@paxlibertas.com and let me know. I would love to work for and with you. Specifically, I'm looking for the following types of work. Remote, flexible IT project style work. I've been in IT for more than 2 decades, and I have been in IT management nearly that long. I've been working specifically in healthcare IT for the last decade, which has blessed me, I guess, with the ability to navigate onerous, bullshit government regulations in IT. I'm also looking for audio work. I can do anything from setting up a corporate podcast for your company, or take your existing or upcoming podcast and make it better than ever. I can do everything from helping you with your audio workspace and studio sound, to editing, producing, and mastering your audio work. I can also do your special voiceover projects. And if you have a book that you want to turn into an audiobook, I can produce that book from start to finish as well. Basically, if it involves the recorded spoken word, I can make it happen for you. Website creation is another one. I've been doing web creating since the mid-90s, and I've perfected the process to bringing you a modern, clean website for a very low cost. If you want to see any of my website work, go to paxlibertas.com today and check out all of the podcast web pages for the shows on this network. And finally, we have one rental property open that we need a renter in. So if you've ever considered making the move to New Hampshire, or if you're already here and you need a new place to stay, consider our property in Milton, New Hampshire. It can be either a 1 or 2 bedroom property based on your needs. The property includes a large deck, private parking, and a full kitchen, and it is fully furnished and ready for you to move in today. It comes with all utilities, high-speed internet provided, and all lawn care and plowing included. Now, we take either Federal Reserve notes or crypto for the rent, and the rent starts at $1,000 a month for 1 bedroom or $1,200 per month for 2 bedrooms. If you're interested, please email me at roger@paxlibertas.com, and I'll send you some pictures of this very cool space. So if you or someone you know needs any of the above services, please let me know. It would be a huge help, guys. And don't forget to go to thelavaflow.com/support today to help me out for as little as $1 an episode. Thanks so much, guys, and wish me luck over the next few months. I will definitely keep you guys posted.
What's in the news? The news you need to know from a libertarian perspective.
In Bill Weld news, he is making it more and more obvious every single day that he wants to be the next libertarian presidential nominee. Last week, he sat down with the Washington Post for an interview. The title of this article in the Post speaks volumes. It's called, "Can This Libertarian Restore Conservatism?" I shit you not. What the actual fuck? I mean, this shows a major disconnect on so many levels for the Washington Post. First, Weld is nowhere near a libertarian. Secondly, Weld is no conservative either, for that matter. And the thought that libertarianism and conservatism are even closely linked is so much bullshit that I can smell the stench all the way from the post offices to my house. The Post puts this article succinctly in their last paragraph, though. Quote, if in autumn 2020 voters face a second consecutive repulsive choice, there will be running room between the two deplorables. Because of its 2016 efforts, the Libertarian Party will automatically be on 39 states' ballots this fall and has a sufficient infantry of volunteers to secure ballot access in at least another 9. So if the Libertarian Party is willing, 2020's politics could have an ingredient recently missing from presidential politics: fun. And maybe a serious disruption of the party duopoly that increasing millions find annoying. Stranger things have happened. If the LP squanders yet another huge opportunity in presidential politics and in spreading the true message of libertarianism by nominating Bill Weld for that office, then the LP has truly gone too far to be redeemed. As you guys know, I'm going to be watching this very closely and keeping you guys as informed as possible. In hemp news, the U.S. Senate voted to legalize hemp after a decades-long ban under marijuana prohibition, and it's about goddamn time. The non-psychoactive cannabis cousin of marijuana would finally become legal to grow in the United States under a bill overwhelmingly approved by the Senate. The wide-ranging agriculture and food policy legislation known as the Farm Bill, passed by a vote of 86-11 on Thursday, contains provisions to legalize the cultivation, processing, and sale of industrial hemp. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said, consumers across America buy hundreds of millions in retail products every year that contain hemp. But due to outdated federal regulations that do not sufficiently distinguish this industrial crop from its illicit cousin, American farmers have been mostly unable to meet that demand themselves. It's left consumers with little choice but to buy imported hemp products from foreign-produced hemp. Senator Michael Bennet, Democrat from Colorado, said it best. For the first time in 80 years, this bill legalizes hemp. We forget, but hemp was widely grown in the United States throughout the mid-1800s. Americans used hemp in fabrics, wine, and paper. Our government treated industrial hemp like any other farm commodity until the early 20th century, when a 1937 law defined it as a narcotic drug, dramatically limiting its growth. This became even worse in 1970, when hemp became a Schedule I controlled substance. In Colorado, as is true across the country, I've talked to a lot of colleagues about this. We see hemp as a great opportunity to diversify our farms and manufacture high-margin products for the American people. House Republican leaders blocked a vote to make hemp legalization part of that chamber's version of the Farm Bill. But now that the language is included in the version approved by the Senate, it will be part of discussions by the bicameral conference committee that will merge both chambers' bills into a single piece of legislation that will be sent to President Trump's desk. All indications are that McConnell, as the most powerful senator, will fight hard for the survival of this hemp proposal. And it's about time. Hemp is one of the most useful, fastest-growing crops in the world, and farmers should be allowed to turn that into profits, period. This is a long-needed win for freedom.
One cryptocurrency project that I'm most excited about right now is ZenCash, with privacy, anonymity, and security done right. You can read all about ZenCash at thelavaflow.com/zen. Now look, I've read a ton of white papers on crypto, and this is the first one I've read that mentioned voluntary and voluntarist not once but 7 times. These are our people, and they are on the right track to mix great technology, excellent marketing, and awesome uses for their product. These guys get it, and they understand what crypto is all about. Now, this is a project, guys, that I believe in 100%. So much so that I have staked some of my own Zen to run a secure node on their network. So don't miss out on checking out this awesome project at thelavaflow.com/zen.
In government waste news, Marin County, California, pissed away $17,500 in taxpayer money to kill a grand total of 23 rodents. That's $760 per dead rodent. Damn, I'm in the wrong business. I mean, I've killed several rodents the last few months for free. According to the Marin Independent Journal, the authority has spent $17,500 to combat a rat infestation at Marin County's Golden Gate Village, a public housing complex with 300 units. Residents complained at a meeting in March that the rats were gnawing through apartment walls and nibbling in kitchens. The critters were so hungry they were reportedly chewing clothing in closets. Since mid-April, pest control efforts have resulted in 7 dead rats and 15 deceased mice. The Independent Journal asked the Housing Authority after Tuesday's supervisors' meeting why the cost was so high. Housing Authority Deputy Director Kimberly Carroll explained that, unlike its predecessor, the new pest control vendor doesn't use most poisons and other chemicals. Instead, it relies on 304 baited traps that need to be checked every week and cleared of vermin corpses, if any. Also, an environmentally friendly essential oil made of rosemary, peppermint, and wintergreen is applied around the perimeter of the buildings to ward off the rodents. The monthly cost of checking traps and making Golden Gate Village minty fresh? It's $4,725. What the actual fuck? I mean, this is just disgusting. Have you ever heard of such nonsense in your life? I mean, this, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why government doesn't work, period. If this were a private company, after 1 month of paying such massive costs and seeing such low results, this shit would have been stopped. But government has no incentive to not piss money away. The more money they piss away, the more money they can take from you next year. In slavery news, France has reinstated a mandatory national service program for all 16-year-olds in the country. In an effort to promote national pride and social cohesion, French President Emmanuel Macron is reinstating a mandatory national service program for all 16-year-olds. Back in 2017, when he was running for president, Macron said he wanted all young adults in the country to experience military life. France conscripted young people into the military until the late 1990s, when it finally got rid of the draft. Macron's new program, which officially begins in 2019, does not bring back the draft. Rather, the only mandatory part of the program is a month-long placement focused on civic culture, during which 16-year-olds have the option of doing teaching or charity work or military, police, or fire service training. Aside from that mandatory 1 month, participants can spend an optional 3 months to a year either volunteering or working in the defense or security fields. The main goal of this program seems to be the promotion of nationalistic ideas. Macron apparently wants young French citizens, both boys and girls, to value their citizenship and feel like they are truly part of the French community. The program's official aim, according to a statement from the Élysée Palace, is to encourage the participation and commitment of every young person in the life of the nation, to value citizenship and the feeling of belonging to a community gathered around its values, to strengthen social cohesion and boost the Republican melting pot. This is pure propaganda, folks, and brainwashing at its best. And yes, this is pure, unadulterated slavery. A YouGov poll conducted in March revealed that 60% of French citizens support a mandatory national service program, or slavery. But when the opinions of young people themselves are also taken into account, the idea received less than 50% support. Moreover, even before the plan was announced, 14 youth organizations said they were unhappy that young people are not being given any choice at all in the matter. It appears the opinions of those affected the most don't seem to matter all that much. Fuck France in the neck. One of the largest reaching liberty programs today is Free Talk Live, with a 3-hour radio program 7 nights a week on more than 180 radio stations across the country. They are so influential on talk radio that they are the number 27 radio program in the country, according to Talkers Magazine. They also have a daily podcast that's been voted Best Political Podcast 5 times by podcastawards.com. The hosts of Free Talk Live are street preachers for the ideas of liberty. They take the message of peace, liberty, and cryptocurrency to the masses on the radio, where they are not preaching to the choir. You can listen via podcast or live via audio streaming or the Twitch or YouTube channels at freetalklive.com. I listen to their podcast myself every single morning when I get up to get a fresh perspective on news and very, very strong libertarian perspectives. Make sure to add them to your feed at freetalklive.com. In New Hampshire, it's like this too news. New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu is drawing a line in the sand against the U.S. Supreme Court decision that opens New Hampshire businesses to the sales tax requirements of other states. Sununu said, "If you try to come into our state and force our businesses to collect a sales tax in a manner that violates our laws or the United States Constitution, you will be in for the fight of your life." Justices ruled last week in the South Dakota v. Wayfair Incorporated case that states can compel online businesses to collect sales tax for them, even when those businesses do not have a physical presence in the states applying the taxes. New Hampshire, of course, has no sales tax of its own. However, the court's ruling could require New Hampshire businesses selling goods online to collect sales taxes for other states and territories. That flies in the face of New Hampshire's traditions of liberty. Sununu also said, "Live free or die is not just a slogan on a license plate. It is the very essence of who we are." Sununu will call on the Executive Council at the upcoming July 11th meeting to open a special legislative session solely to deal with the internet sales tax. Sununu wants to see the House and Senate pass legislation that will allow New Hampshire businesses to be free from improperly collecting sales taxes for other states. Sununu said this is the time for all Granite Staters to work together against the tax ruling, which he said violates the sovereignty of New Hampshire. He said, quote, "Working together, we will do everything in our power to prevent other states from violating this principle by imposing arcane sales and use tax obligations on New Hampshire businesses." Now look, I've been very mixed on Sununu's record as governor. The first year of his term, we saw some massive freedoms in the state, which I've talked about several times on this show. However, this year, so far, he's been a mixed bag, with Sununu being much less liberty-oriented in many of his decisions than last year. This is why I say working within the system is not our best option, because you never know what you're going to get when you put up, supposedly, liberty politicians. While I do applaud Sununu for this news on the internet sales tax, he is still a statist politician at the end of the day.
Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy.
Anybody can herd cattle. Holding together 10,000 half-wild short hairs, well, that's another thing altogether.
Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
So, PorcFest is over, and holy shit, it was amazing. First of all, I need to thank my many listeners, and especially my many supporters who were at this event. Some of my supporters were major volunteers for the event, including coordinating registration and the Dash Pavilion. I can't tell you guys how much I really appreciate all of your hard work in making PorcFest so fucking awesome this year. Other supporters were attendees who drove hundreds of miles to enjoy the premier libertarian event of the year. It was so awesome to meet all of you in person and hang out with you. I hope to see you all in New Hampshire permanently soon. And to all of my listeners who were there and stopped to say hi, take pictures, or just hang out, thank you so much for coming. It's always amazing to meet my listeners. Remember, you guys rock. While PorcFest was one of the toughest weeks of my life, with little sleep and many fires to put out all week, both small and large, it was one of the most rewarding weeks of my entire life. Working so closely with my wife, all of our 20 or so coordinators, and our nearly 100 other volunteers was simply amazing. We had such an awesome team that brought this event together and took care of business, professionally and efficiently. I could not be more proud of the team I worked with on this project. Now, if you guys recall, I had two goals for this PorcFest. One was to increase ticket sales by 1 ticket. The other was to make a profit of at least $1. These goals were very specific because the last 3 years of PorcFest has seen declines in ticket sales over the previous year, and because PorcFest has not made money in a few years. While the Free State Project is fine with PorcFest losing a little bit of money because it is such a recruitment tool for new and potential movers, that just does not work for me. I'm thrilled to report that we had an increase in ticket sales of more than 30% over PorcFest 2017. We've beaten back the declining numbers and beaten it handily. As for the profit side, we made a much larger profit than even I could have expected, and all of that money will go back to the Free State Project to be used for staff and tools needed to help bring more people to New Hampshire. I could not be more thrilled with our results as far as the numbers go. But, as you guys know, numbers are not everything. PorcFest is about the experience and community, and for some people, it is about profits too. We have lots of vendors from everything from food to t-shirts to head shop items at PorcFest, and I was told by several of those vendors that they made record profits this year. For example, Will Coley, who sold food and t-shirts, made a profit for the first time in 4 years at PorcFest this year. And it was a hell of a profit too, and I'm so happy for him. You know, I'm so thrilled to see people in our community provide amazing products and services to people and come out with both sides winning. This is the free market at its best, folks. As for experience and community, I had amazing interactions with literally hundreds of our attendees, all of whom seemed happy. They were having fun and just living anarchy for a week. Everyone I spoke with had so much fun at PorcFest and told Jess and I over and over again about it. While you would expect this to our face, we've also seen dozens and dozens of post-PorcFest social media posts where attendees raved over how awesome PorcFest was this year, with many of them saying it was the best PorcFest they've ever attended. And I cannot tell you how happy that makes me. It makes the massive loss of sleep and the losing my voice for a week and the literal blood, sweat, and tears worth every single drop. So if you were at PorcFest 15 this year, thank you so much for coming. I hope your experience matched the experiences of the other attendees that I spoke with. And if you weren't at PorcFest 15, what's wrong with you? Make sure to make your plans to come to New Hampshire for PorcFest 16 next June 18th through the 23rd. Early bird tickets are on sale right now at PorcFest.com. And this is literally the cheapest you will ever be able to get tickets to PorcFest 16. So make sure to get yours now while early bird is still going on. I want to see each of you at PorcFest 16. The big question I keep getting is, are you and Jess going to produce PorcFest 16? The short answer to that is almost certainly. We still have a few minor things to negotiate with the Free State Project before we can say 100% for sure, but we are, at this point, probably 95% of the way there. So please make sure to get your early bird tickets today at PorcFest.com and come see Jess and I at PorcFest 16. Thank you for listening to the show this week. As always, I need to thank my favorite actress, Jessica, for her help with the show. For the show notes to this episode, where I put links and other information that's been on the show, go to thelavaflow.com/95. I have 3 brand new supporters this week and 1 upgraded supporter. Charles L. upgraded his Patreon per episode pledge from $1 to $2.50 per episode. Charles, thank you so much. Joseph R. became a brand new $1 per episode supporter using Patreon. Thanks, Joe. It was so awesome to hang out with you at PorcFest this year. Adam became a new $2.50 per episode supporter using Patreon. Awesome, Adam. Thank you so much for that. And last, but certainly not least, Jacob L. became a $5 per episode supporter using Patreon. Holy shit, Jacob. That is huge. Thank you so much. So thanks to Jacob L., Adam, Joseph R., and Charles L., and all of the rest of my awesome supporters. I'm now at $268 per episode, or 53.6% of the way towards my next goal of $500 per episode. Thanks for all your support, guys, really. And remember, when I hit this next goal, I'm going to be upping the content I bring you from half an hour per week to a full hour. I know you want more content from me, and I want to give it to you. So add your pledge today to help me bring you twice the lava flow that you're getting today. So exercise your free market muscles by going to thelavaflow.com/support and giving a per episode donation of as little as $1 an episode using Federal Reserve notes through Patreon or Bitcoin through Coinbase. I want to be able to bring you more content soon, so make sure to add your donation today to help make that happen. I also have 1 new Apple Podcast review this week. Ed Treats said, "Awesome show. Covers news I care about in an entertaining way. Firm in his beliefs, but to me doesn't come off like a giant jerk. Glad to have guys like this in New Hampshire. All of the other 5-star reviewers should move here too." Thanks, Ed. That fucking rocks. And yes, I agree that everyone who wants more liberty in their lifetimes should definitely make the move to New Hampshire. And if you have a minute and you want to hear your review read live on the show, please go to thelavaflow.com/Apple and leave me a rating and a review. All the cool kids are doing it, just like Ed. Thanks to everyone who's left me a rating and a review so far. You guys rock. To all of you who haven't, can you guys please help me out and go leave a review for me? Do that at thelavaflow.com/Apple right now. Until next time, keep striking the root.
Thank you for listening to The Lava Flow at thelavaflow.com. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe now at thelavaflow.com/subscribe. This has been a Pax Libertas Productions podcast.